Good evening, everybody. Till the last class, in the last class, I have started with the nuclear power plants. Okay, coming to nuclear power plant. Coming to nuclear power plant. I have explained the basics of nuclear power plants. Okay, the first basic whichever I have explained is what is atom. Okay, and what is atomic number, what is atomic mass. Next, what are the number of electrons and protons which are there, and what is the importance of nuclear fuel. What is a radioactive material and which type of radiations is radioactive materials give out, which are alpha, beta and gamma radiations. Right. After that, we have dealt with even nuclear fission and fusion definitions also. Fission, fusion, both are related with evolution of huge amount of energy, heat energy. Right. Coming to fission means breaking down of a larger nucleus into a smaller nuclei is called as nuclear fission. Nuclear fusion means a small atoms with lesser atomic mass and with lesser atomic number. They try to combine or fuse and they form a heavier nucleus, which is called as nuclear fusion. And this is also associated with liberation of heat energy. Right. In today's class, we will deal with some more topics about nuclear power plant. Okay, and then we will go for working of nuclear power plant along with its layout. Okay, right. In the previous section, we have known about introduction to nuclear energy, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Right. Merits and demerits of nuclear fuel also we have dealt with. Okay, we are having a good number of merits of nuclear fuel or nuclear energy also. Demerits of nuclear energy are a bit less, but the thing is it is a very risky type of energy. Usage of nuclear energy is a bit risky. Okay, and it is associated with huge cost. Okay, installation cost and even maintenance cost, everything is high for our nuclear energy. Right, and on the completion of this topic you will be able to understand types of nuclear fuels, properties of nuclear fuels, what is mass energy balance equation. Okay, nuclear fission, nuclear fusion reactions, why, how much amount of heat will get released and why this heat is getting released also we will understand by 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 learning about mass energy balance equations. Right, coming to the next slide, which is about nuclear fuels. The fuels which are used in nuclear power generation or nuclear power plants whatever the fuels which are used by nuclear power plants are uranium, thorium and plutonium. Okay, again I have told that there are three isotopes of uranium which are available in nature: uranium 234, 235 and 238. Coming to thorium, whose atomic mass is 232, and plutonium's atomic mass is 239. Requirements of nuclear fuel. Okay, what are the requirements? We are like, before studying about conductors, first we will try to refer to an ideal conductor. What is an ideal conductor? An ideal conductor is a conductor whose resistance is almost zero, or ideal conductor will not have a resistance and its conductivity is like infinite. Why? Because conductivity is inverse of resistance. Conductance is inverse of resistance, so its conductivity is infinite, we can tell. Like similarly, what are the requirements of nuclear fuels? Means what is a nuclear fuel? Which the fuels which are available in nature which can give some radiations like alpha, beta and gamma are called as nuclear fuels. Okay, right. When you are using or when you are taking nuclear fuels, what are the requirements? How a nuclear fuel should be selected on, on what properties it should have. Okay, right. With this properties, what are the advantages which are associated with that nuclear fuel? Okay, right. Coming to the requirements which should be there, or coming to the requirements which are necessary for a nuclear fuel, we will deal. Right. The first requirement is it should withstand for high working temperatures. Why? Because if suppose whatever the nuclear fuel you are taking, okay, usually, you will try to, as it is a heavy nucleus, you will try to bombard with a neutron and it will try to separate or it will try to divide into smaller nuclei. Okay, but what happens whenever you are trying to bombard with a neutron? Okay, I mean large amount of heat energy will come out. Okay, as large amount of heat energy will come out, okay, this material should have the capacity to withstand high working temperature. Okay, if the working temperature is high also, then the material should have capacity to withstand high working temperature. The second requirement is high resistance to corrosion. Like if iron rod, whatever, I mean iron rod, or there are some materials in nature which which if you expose it to atmosphere, okay, they get corroded. If your nuclear material also get corroded, then it will be a problem. So it should have high resistance to corrosion, means it should not get, I mean, wherever you put, I mean wherever, either it is kept in vacuum or whether it is kept in air, but it should not easily get corroded. Okay, stability in operating condition. Even the nuclear material also should be stable. Okay, the material should not, I mean, it should have stability in operating condition. I mean, what I mean, while operating, the nuclear material should be stable. It should not absorb neutrons. Why? Because if whatever the neutrons we are trying to bombard on the nuclear material, if the nuclear material has the capacity to absorb the neutron, then bombardment will not happen. Okay, and as this bombardment goes on, like if the chain reaction continues only, then only uh, heat energy will be released. With that heat energy only, we are trying to generate our electrical energy. So I mean, this material should not have the capacity to absorb neutrons. Why? Because the how many a number of neutrons which are released, that should be again bombarded, then only new or more amount of neutrons will be released and more amount of heat energy will be released. If suppose if this nuclear material has the capacity to absorb neutrons, then the chain reaction will not happen. I mean there will be a breakage for chain reaction, because this nuclear material only will absorb the neutrons whichever are bombarded or whichever are released during the intermediate processes of intermediate processes of chain reaction. Better heat transfer capacity, right? I mean, this it should have the capacity to withstand high temperatures. It should work in high temperatures. It is the first criteria. The another criteria which is it should have better heat transfer capacity. Means, I mean, it should not absorb heat all the time. This nuclear material, it should be able to work in high temperature conditions. Next, it should have the capacity to transfer the heat also. Okay, right. I mean, if suppose in a room, I mean, you are in a right, in a compartment, you are trying to perform, or nuclear furnace, you are trying to perform nuclear reaction. Okay, if suppose if your nuclear fuel has a capacity to absorb the heat which is released, then also it will be waste. So it should have better heat transfer capacity, means it should not absorb more amount of heat. I mean, it should have the capacity to transfer the heat from that nuclear material to the outer atmosphere or to its surroundings. Right? Easy removal of fuel element means, I mean, like the falling of ash in thermal power plant, like that. Whatever the nuclear fuel which we are using, after its consumption or after the nuclear materials work is over, after the nuclear fuel, after doing its useful work, even it should be, I mean, we should be able to remove this nuclear material also easily. Easy removal of fuel element also should happen for a nuclear fuel. I mean, should be I mean, removal of a fuel element should also be very easy. Then only our nuclear fuel will support in a better manner for a nuclear reaction. So these are the requirements of nuclear fuels. Okay, there are, I think, 6 requirements which are mentioned in the given slide, which should be there for our nuclear fuel. Right. Do you know this material? Means how your uranium material in a rocking form, how it looks like. See, I mean, whatever the uranium material which is occurring in nature, usually it will be in the form of, I mean, in nature, how the material, I mean, we can't get direct powder form of material in the nature, right? We get in the form of ores or rocks. I mean, like I can tell that it is a crude form. Okay, so in the form of ore or rocks only, we get this nuclear fuels are obtained in the crude form in nature, okay, or in irregular shape like in the form of ore, or in some crude form only we have nuclear material available in nature, right? So this is the uranium, this is the shape, or this is the I mean our uranium nuclear fuel in the form of rock, okay, or in the ore form it looks like this. Right. Next is, what are properties of uranium? Right. Let us understand what are the properties of uranium means. It occurs in nature in small quantities, about 1 in 140 parts of the ore. Okay. I mean, means less in one ore. I mean, in 140 parts of the ore, only one part you will have as uranium. Means there are different, I mean, I mean, that only I was trying to tell. It is in the crude form, it is not in the direct form. Like whatever, I mean, as we dig the earth, we get the crude form of crude oil we get. From that crude oil, we try to separate it as a kerosene, okay, a petrol, diesel, okay. And like this, these all are the separations which we attain after refining our crude petroleum. So this uranium is also like that only. Okay, in 140 parts of the ore, only one part you are having uranium. Okay, what are the physical properties of the uranium? Okay, by seeing uranium in a crude form, and what all the properties, or what are the physical properties which we have, like its weight, okay, its weight, its volume, its density, next boiling point, melting point, this all we will try to study now. Right, the density of our uranium is 19.14 gram per centimeter cube. Centimeter cube density is mass by volume. Okay, so per centimeter cube you are having 19.14 grams per centimeter cube. You are having its density. Okay, melting point. I mean, I already have told that it should have. I mean, usually it should have high boiling point, and it should have high melting point also. So 1150 degrees centigrade, and next boiling point is also very high, which is 4000 degrees centigrade. Means it should not melt very easily. That only they have given in the last slide. No, it should withstand for high working temperatures. Means it should have high boiling point, which is about 4000 degrees centigrade. Its electrical resistivity also should be 2, the resistivity is 2 to 5 into 10 to the power of 4 micro ohm centimeter. Even our resistivity also should be less. Why? Because I mean, why? Because it should emit more and more amount of heat. Next is its thermal conductivity at 75 degrees centigrade is 0.063, and at 400 degrees centigrade is 0.078. Means as the temperature increases, the conductivity of the material is also increasing. Okay, right. Coming to the next slide, which is about thorium. I have told about uranium. There were three, as I told that there are three isotopes in uranium. Coming to the next part, which is our thorium. Okay, atomic weight of thorium is 232 and its atomic number is 90. Right. Coming to properties of thorium. Okay, where, I mean, crude form of thorium, where it is available and what are its physical properties, we will try to understand. Right. It occurs mainly in monazite sands near sea coasts. Okay, usually some radioactive materials, I mean, like usually, I mean, it refers to thorium radioactive material only. Near the sea coast, you get this thorium material. Okay, right. They occur in monazite sands near seacoast. What are the physical properties of thorium? Let us understand. Density of the thorium is 11.72 gram per centimeter cube. Okay. Next here the density is 19.14. Now the density is 11.72 gram per centimeter cube. Its melting point is 1700 plus or minus 10 degrees centigrade. Its boiling point is 3000 degrees centigrade. Electrical resistivity is 18.5 micro ohm centimeter at 20 degrees centigrade. Next, thermal conductivity is 0.091 at 800 degrees centigrade and 0.109 at 65 degrees centigrade. See, in nature there are various types of materials available. Okay, every material has its properties. I mean, every material will have the atomic number, the atomic weight, its density, its melting point, its boiling point, its thermal conductivity, even its resistivity. Okay, and even your thermal conductivity will change again with temperature also. I mean, we can't tell that at 30 degrees whatever the conductivity is there, it will be there at 100 degrees or not. I think it might decrease or it might increase depending on the nature of the material. This all will happen. So similarly, I want to tell that uranium and thorium are the radioactive materials which are available in nature, but there are different, I mean, there are differences between these two radioactive materials in terms of their physical properties. Okay, right, its resistivity also at 20 degrees centigrade, it is less only, which is 18.5 micro ohm per ohm centimeter. Why electrical resistivity should be less? Okay, resistivity depends on the nature of the material. Right, R is equals to rho L by A. If your resistivity is less, then resistance also will be less. Okay, as the resistance is less, what happens is, I mean, it will behave as a good conductor. Means absorption of heat or even passage of electricity, everything will become easy. Right. Next is, this is the plutonium, the crude form of plutonium, or it's plutonium ore, whichever they have shown in the given slide. Usually plutonium, already I have told that they are usually obtained in monazite sands near the seashore. Next is plutonium ore. This is the plutonium ore which they have shown, PuO2. Okay, this is your plutonium or properties of plutonium. Okay, it is rare in nature. Right. Compared to uranium, the availability of plutonium is very less. It is rare in nature. It can be made in nuclear reactors. See, the main component or the heart of a nuclear power plant is our nuclear reactor. As we have a boiler in a thermal power plant, similarly here also nuclear reactor is the heart of the nuclear power plant. Okay, usually availability of plutonium is very rare in nature. It can be made in nuclear reactor in some, I mean, while performing some reactions or while performing some nuclear by performing some nuclear reactions. I mean, we can disintegrate or we can form uh, this plutonium material. Okay, it can be made in nuclear reactor, right? This can be made by disintegration of uranium 235 in presence of moderator. Okay, moderator is also another part which is used in our nuclear power plant. Okay, in that in presence of moderator, if you use uranium 235 isotope, then then you can make this plutonium atom by disintegration of uranium 235 isotope. Right. Do you know who proposed the relation between mass and energy? This famous relation, or this relation defines how much of energy is released. Okay, this relation was proposed by Albert Einstein. Okay, right. What is mass energy relationship? Let us try to study once. Einstein's theory, the relationship between mass and energy is given as, he has defined or he has formed a relation between mass and energy. Okay, I mean, your energy will depend on mass or not, that we will see here. Okay, right. Your energy is directly proportional to the mass of the radioactive material. E is equals to m into c square, where m is equals to mass is expressed in kg, E is equals to energy, which is expressed in joules, and c is the speed or velocity of light. As we all know that velocity of light is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second, means all the units they have mentioned in SI system. Right. Coming to the mass equation of fission reaction. Right. Let us try to read what is the mass reaction or mass equation of fission reaction. Fission means I have already told that a big nucleus will disintegrate into a smaller nuclei. Okay. So now let us calculate the mass equation. Means I mean weights on the left hand side of the reaction and weights on the right hand side reaction both should tally. Then only the mass is balanced. Yesterday I told that two deuterium atoms will give helium 2 3, which is one isotope of helium along with one neutron. Their mass, we are verifying the atomic numbers and atomic weights, whether they are balanced or not on the both sides of the reaction, we are trying to verify. Okay, similarly here also we will try to study the mass equation, whether the mass is on the left hand side of the equation and right hand side of the equation of nuclear fission reaction, whether they are balanced or not. Let us study. Right, uranium-235, which is one isotope with, all the isotopes will have same atomic number, which is 92. Uranium-235 plus one neutron will give to uranium-236, which will give as lanthanum plus bromium. Okay, lanthanum plus bromium plus 3 neutrons, lanthanum 148 plus bromium 85 plus 3 neutrons. Right, uranium 235 plus uranium plus neutron should give you, atomic weight on the left hand side, it should be equal to 235 plus 1, which is 236. Coming to the right side, uranium-236 is again disintegrating into two smaller nuclei, which is lanthanum 148 and bromium 85. Lanthanum 148 plus bromium 85, 148 plus 85 means 8 plus 5 is 13, 3, 1, 4 plus 8, 12, and 13. 3 and 2. 233 we get, but here on the left side you are having 236. So 3 free neutrons will be released. As we all know that neutron will not constitute anything to charge. It is neutral in nature. It is neither positively charged particle nor negatively charged particle. Only neutrons have mass, and neutrons are placed at the center of the nucleus. Right. So your uranium-236 is disintegrating into lanthanum 148 and bromine 85 plus 3 free neutrons. The mass equation of the reaction is 235.124 of uranium plus 1.009 of a single neutron is giving you 147.961, which is lanthanum's weight, and bromium's weight is 84.938. Means these are the exact weights, accurate weights of the nuclear elements, or these are the accurate weights of the elements which are involved in the nuclear fission reaction. Okay, the above whatever I have told, that are approximate weights, means you have rounded off the value. Then you have got 147.961, you have written as 148, 84.938 you have written as 85. Okay, and 3.027 you have written as 3 neutrons. Right, this is your mass equation. Okay, if you take a calculator and if you calculate the left hand side and the right hand side, they will not be exactly equal. They will be approximately equal, but exactly the both sides of the nuclear fission reaction equation will not get tallied. Okay, there will be some difference, right? How much difference it will be there, I will explain in the next slide. Right, the mass of fission products on the right hand side of the equation 2. Okay, the mass of the fission products which you are obtaining on the right hand side is 0.207 AMU. AMU means atomic mass unit, less than the mass on the left hand side. Means approximately both the weights are verifying, but accurately they are not verifying. Means right hand side mass is 0.207 less than mass on left hand side. Means right hand side products, right? reactants, I mean the mass of the reactants is more than the mass of the products, or the mass of the products is less than the mass of the reactants by 0.207 AMU, where AMU defines you the atomic mass unit. Equivalent energy released, and equivalent energy released by this 0.207 AMU is 0.207 into 1 AMU is equals to 931 mega electron volt. Sorry, 931 million electron volt, MEV, capital MEV, which is million electron volt. Right. One AMU is equals to 931 million electron volt. So equivalent energy released is equals to 0.207 into 931 million electron volt. If you do, you will get how much amount of energy is getting released, which is 3.08 into 10 to the power of minus 11 joules or watt seconds. Okay, so you are, I mean 3.08 into 10 to the power of minus 11 joules is getting released when when one atom of uranium is bombarded with one isotope of uranium 235 when one atom of uranium 235 is bombarded with one neutron, then 3.08 into 10 to the power of minus 11 joules or watt seconds of energy is released in this reaction, in this nuclear fission reaction. Coming to fusion reaction. Okay, how fusion reaction occurs means, for fusion reaction you need to two smaller nuclei, smaller nuclei should get fused. Okay, should get fused and it will form a larger nucleus. Okay, here deuterium and tritium are trying to combine and they will form helium. Deuterium means it is an isotope of hydrogen with atomic number 1 and atomic weight 2. Tritium is again an isotope of hydrogen with atomic number 1 and atomic weight 3. So they will try to give, they will fuse, or they will form, after fusing they will form into a larger nucleus, which is our helium atom, along with this some neutrons, one neutron also will be released. And fusion reaction is also associated with with liberation of heat energy. Here try to observe that on the right hand side, with red arrow mark, energy is also given, means energy is also getting released or liberated during our nuclear fusion reaction. Right, coming to the mass equation of the fusion reaction. Okay, hydrogen 1 2 plus hydrogen 1 2, you are getting, one deuterium and one, right, they are trying to combine two deuterium atoms. Okay, we are getting helium 2 3 with one neutron and energy. Right, if you simply calculate the approximate weights, then it will be balanced. Hydrogen atomic number is 1. Okay, atomic weight is 2. Atomic weight is 2 for helium, and atomic number is 2 for helium. And coming to verification of weights, okay, 2 plus 2, which is 4. Okay, helium is having a weight of 3. It is an isotope of helium which is having a weight of 3. Along with that, one neutron is released and more amount of energy is liberated. Okay, right. And now let us see the accurate weights of deuteriums and isotope of helium which is released along with the weight of neutron. Right. See, the weight of deuterium is 2.01473 plus 2.01473 will give you 3.016997 plus 1.00898. Okay, approximately the both sides of the equation will tally or will verify, but accurately they will not get verified. The mass fusion product on the right hand side of the equation 3 is 0.003483 AMU less than mass on the left hand side, means reactants are reactant reactants are having a weight of 0.003483 AMU more than weight of the products, means weight of the products is less than weight of the reactants by an amount of, okay, by 0.003483 AMU. What is AMU means? It is called as atomic mass unit, mass equation of the fusion reaction. Right, let us calculate the mass equation of the fusion reaction now. Equivalent energy released. Equivalent energy released, how we calculate is, I mean, whatever the mass which is I mean which is there, I mean, after subtracting reactants from products, whatever the mass which is remained, okay, that is taken, and 1 AMU means, again, instead of AMU, I mean, in order to calculate the energy released, okay, AMU means it is giving weight, okay, I mean, in order to calculate the energy released by that amount of AMU, which is 0.003483 into 931 million electron volt, you will get 5.188 into 10 to the power of minus 13 joules or watt seconds. 5.188 into 10 to the power of minus 13 joules or watt seconds I mean, during the fusion reaction of two deuterium atoms, you are getting an isotope of helium, and along with that helium atom, I mean, this 5.188 into 10 to the power of minus 13 joules of energy is getting released in this nuclear fusion reaction, right? I mean, let us start with the next topic. Till this topic, we were dealing with, we have seen one fission and one fusion reactions. In both of them, energy is released, and how we are calculating the energy release means, we are calculating the exact weights of reactants and products, and we are subtracting subtracting the weights of the reactants minus weights of the products, and whatever the weight which is remained, it is in atomic mass unit. Okay, one atomic mass unit is equals to 931 million electron volt. By multiplying this with that difference of weights in reactants and products, we will get the amount of heat energy released, which is in joules or watt seconds. Right. On completion of this period, you will be able to know about types of nuclear reactions, chain reaction, use of moderators in chain reaction, in nuclear reaction. Right. Till now we have dealt with the liberation of energy. I mean, how do we calculate the amount of energy liberated, we have seen. Coming to the next topic, there are the next topic whichever we have to study is about types of nuclear reactions, chain reaction, use of moderators in nuclear reaction. Right. Coming to what is nuclear reaction. Okay, the nuclear fuels like uranium, thorium, and plutonium, etc. Okay, I mean, I think there are, etc. means there are more amount of nuclear materials or nuclear fuels are available in nature. But whatever till now, whatever we have studied, and till now, whatever we have came to know, right, the nuclear fuels like uranium, thorium, and plutonium, etc. Whatever I was telling about, etc. is, I mean, I think there are many nuclear fuels which are available in nature, but whatever we have studied and whatever we have come to know, or what we are using in our nuclear power plants, that are uranium, thorium, and plutonium. When they bombard with a neutron, causing a reaction which is called as nuclear reaction. When these nuclear fuels are bombarded with one neutron, then it is called as nuclear reaction. Okay, nuclear reaction means the reaction in which a nuclear fuel is getting participated along with a neutron, or in which a nuclear fuel is bombarded with a neutron, is called as nuclear reaction. Right. What are the types of nuclear reactions which are there? Let us observe. Uranium-235, 92 is its atomic number, plus 1 neutron will give, yesterday I have told that I am discussing about one one possible nuclear fission reaction which uranium 235 isotope is undergoing. I mean, there are several other reactions also which uranium 235. I mean, there are several other smaller nuclei also which uranium 235 can disintegrate. Let us observe this. Okay, uranium 235 92 plus 1 neutron will give you barium. Okay, barium 56 137. Okay, 56 is its atomic number, 137 is its atomic weight, plus krypton 36 is its atomic number, 97 is its atomic weight, and 2 neutrons are released, and energy is also 2 neutrons are released, and energy is also released. Okay, how much amount of energy is released is it will depend on the exact weights of uranium 235, neutron, barium, krypton, and 2 neutrons. Okay, if whatever the weight difference between reactants and products is there, that will be expressed in AMU. And if you replace AMU by 931 million electron volt, then you will get energy liberated or energy released in terms of joules or watt seconds. Right. Next is uranium 92 to 235 plus 1 neutron will give to lanthanum 57 148 plus bromine 35 85 plus 3 neutrons. Here 3 neutrons are released in the last reaction of uranium 235 isotope. 2 neutrons only were released, means uranium can uranium will disintegrate into different types of nuclei. Okay, in the first reaction, barium and krypton are getting released. In the second reaction, lanthanum and bromine are getting released with 3 neutrons. Right. Coming to the third reaction, we will try to observe uranium 92 to 35 plus neutron plus 1 neutron, or uranium when bombarded with a neutron is giving lanthanum 57 147. Okay. 57 147 means lanthanum 57 148, lanthanum 57 147. Again, there are two isotopes of lanthanum. So in the second reaction, one isotope of lanthanum was getting released. Now the other type of isotope is getting released, and again bromium also the same thing is happening. Bromium also another isotope of bromium. One isotope of bromium is having an atomic weight of 85. Another isotope of bromium is having an atomic weight of 97. And here in the third reaction also 2 neutrons are only getting released, and energy is getting liberated. So these are the types of nuclear reactions in which uranium 235 is undergoing nuclear fission reaction. Okay, only these are the nuclear reactions which are occurring, these are the nuclear reactions where uranium 235 is getting participated. Okay, isotope of uranium which is 235 is getting involved in these three reactions. Right, coming to the next. And next, again there are two more nuclear reactions of the same isotope uranium 235. They are showing uranium 235 92 plus 1 neutron will give you strontium. Strontium is 28 148. Okay, and Xc xenon with 54 139, and 3 neutrons are released and energy is also liberated. Next is uranium 92 235 plus 1 neutron is giving Sb and Y. I think these are the atomic names of just I will refer and tell in the next class what are Sb and Y's atomic names of the materials. Here again two different types of two smaller nuclei. It is getting disintegrated into two two smaller nuclei. Okay, Sb and Y with atomic weights of 51, atomic numbers 51 and 35, atomic weights are 134 and 95, and 3 neutrons, and more amount of energy is released. So these are the types of nuclear reactions. Coming to a chain reaction. Okay, right. In this class, I will tell you the basic, or I will tell you the definition of chain reaction and how a chain reaction occurs is all we'll discuss. in the later topics, right? It is a series of individual reactions in which a reaction of first product produces a second reaction, the product of second reaction produces a third, and so on. Means initially you will bombard uranium atom with one neutron. Okay, this uranium atom will disintegrate into smaller nucleus, and again neutrons are released. Okay, again the neutrons which are released from the first reaction will again will again bombard uranium 235, and uh, again neutrons are released, and this process will continue and continue. It will go on like that, and more amount of energy. In every reaction, again for one neutron you are getting three neutrons released, so neutrons also will get multiplied, and more amount of heat also will get liberated while we are performing chain reaction. Just I will read the definition of chain reaction once again. It is a series of individual reactions. It is a series of individual reactions. It is not about, different reactions are not participating. Only one reaction is only occurring, okay, in which a reaction of first product, okay, a reaction of first product produces a second reaction. The product of second reaction produces third, and so on. This continues. So this is called as chain reaction. Next is chain reaction. See here, again there is another one neutron is getting bombarded with uranium 235 in the slide which they are showing, and three neutrons are getting released, and this individual neutron is again bombarding with uranium 235 nucleus separately, and again three neutrons are released. See, initially there was one neutron, okay, and at the end of first reaction three neutrons are released. Means with one neutron you are getting three neutrons, right? Now with three neutrons I will calculate the next neutrons whichever are released. 3 3 3 means 1, 3 power 0 which is 1, 3 power 1 which is 3, 3 power 2 which is 9. Okay, similarly this reaction will multiply, and more number of electrons will be released. Means 9 electrons are released at the end of second reaction. Okay, at the end of third reaction what happens is 3 to the power of 3, 27 neutrons will get released, and at the end of fourth reaction 3 to the power of 4, 81 neutrons will get released. Similarly, in this way, more and more neutrons will get multiplied and multiplied. Okay, and in every reaction, in every reaction, energy will be liberated. How many uranium atoms are getting bombarded? That much amount of heat will be releasing. Means more and more amount of heat will be liberated while we are performing this chain reaction, right? Again, see, first one uranium 235 is reaction is one uranium 235 isotope, one atom is participating in the chain reaction. Next, three uranium 235 atoms are participating in the chain reaction. Next, 9 uranium atoms are participating in the chain reaction, right? So this is happening throughout the time. So this is called as chain reaction. And let us see what is the purpose of chain reaction. Okay, what is the purpose of chain reaction? Right. What is the purpose of chain reaction? In the next class I will try to deal. Okay, we will deal with the purpose of chain reaction, and what are the other components which are used in nuclear power plant, the working principle of nuclear power plant, everything I will explain. Okay, so thank you for today's session. I will stop the class with here.